Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy, more specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I am so glad that you are here. Today's conversation is on a topic that I don't know much about, but it's always fascinated me. I had the opportunity to chat with Sandy Wilkes. She is a licensed acupuncturist, and she shares her knowledge and gives us information just about everything with acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So I hope that you really enjoy this time. I know that I did. And Sandy's energy is just amazing. So I will definitely be making an appointment with her soon. So here is Sandy Wilkes. Well, hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast, Sandy. I'm so happy to have you here. You look fabulous.
Well, thank you, Robin. I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be so much fun.
It is. Okay, I have not seen you since, oh my gosh, probably, I don't know, 5 years, maybe?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
It has. Yeah, you did a workshop at the studio for us.
Yes.
And so that was so amazing. And I'm really, really embarrassed because I keep saying, I'm going to come see you. I'm going to come see you. And I have not. Okay, so for the listeners out there, you are a licensed acupuncturist.
I am a licensed acupuncturist, and I think that, what does that mean? It means I'm a healer and a teacher, both.
Yeah. And you've been doing it for how long now?
It's been 15 years, going on 16 years. So yeah, This is a second career for me. This is which is great. I love it.
So, I didn't even know that. So what was your first career, and then how did you get into this?
Well, I'm an artist, and I was a graphic designer, illustrator, and had my own little firm. Did a lot of work all over town. And I got into this because it basically saved my life. I had never been ill in my life, really. And I ended up having a bad reaction to an antibiotic. I had my liver shut down. I went toxic and ended up with inflammation of the brain and spinal cord. And
oh my gosh,
Western medicine saved me. They got me through it. I survived. I was in really bad shape. I mean, bad shape. Fatigue was horrible. I could hardly think. I was sleeping 2 shifts a day and basically giving up my business because I could not work all day. And I had tried, I went to neurologists, endocrinologists, I went to specialists. They were nice people. They were all, tried to help. But basically what they said was, you're lucky to be alive. Go on and be happy. Well,
wow.
I was beginning to think that there was nothing that was going to help me. And then I was introduced to acupuncture, and it saved my life. And so it wasn't long before I was called to do it. I felt I have to do this. So now went back to school, 2 years of pre-med, 4 years of traditional Chinese medicine. And here I am. Graduated in 2008. I've been practicing ever since, and I love it. Love it.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, I want to go a step back though. You said that you were introduced to it. How were you introduced to it?
Well, actually, a chiropractor that I was seeing said, you know what? I think you need to do this. I think you need to do acupuncture. And so thank goodness for him. He didn't do it himself, but he sent me on my way.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
Did that and then researched schools, and after that, and found somewhere I could go.
Okay. So for someone out there and me, tell us, like, what all can acupuncture do? I know there's so many things. Like, people just think sticking needles in parts and doesn't that hurt?
People mainly know it for pain relief. And that's what drives people to go get care. If you're hurting, you're going to go ask for help. You don't necessarily think about it, or people aren't introduced to it for all the other benefits it has. And that is that it balances your whole energy system. And your energy system is the foundation and the root of how your body functions, how your body works. And so if that energy flow is blocked or it is imbalanced, you can do all kinds of things physically and it's not going to be right. And so when we can help you with the balance of the energy flow, and that energy flow, the Chinese call it qi, but basically it is what directs all the healing powers of your body, the amount of blood flow, the what types of cytokines are sent. That is the hormonal balance, the chemical balance that is sent to correct and to heal an area that is off, whether it's your kidneys or your stomach or your large intestines, whatever. Acupuncture can usually help because it helps the body work the way it's supposed to. And the body has the capability to heal a lot of things that we don't think about actually being able to heal from, because without additional help, we won't heal from it. If you don't have electricity flowing to a certain room in your house, you can flip the switches all you want and nothing is going to come on in that room. Until you reopen that energy flow to that room, things aren't going to work. But if there's a way to reopen that energy flow, suddenly everything can begin working again. And that's basically what acupuncture does. It reopens those pathways.
Okay. And you talked a lot about, you said different organs, you went through a few of them, but I've also heard that acupuncture is good for anxiety or depression or mental. It's a complete wellness is what I understand.
Yes, it really is. And I have people who come in just for wellness maintenance. There isn't anything wrong with them, but I check their pulse and their tongue. There are a few other things that you look at in traditional Chinese medicine that help give input on how the body is functioning and where it may be vulnerable to problems. And then I can help reinforce that before anything even goes wrong. But yes, I have worked on people for their vision. I have worked on people for ringing of the ears, for their periods being off. People come in who have had COVID and they're not, they've recovered from COVID, but they haven't recovered from COVID. They've never regained their energy, or they just don't feel the same. And often it's a matter of rebalancing the system again, getting things flowing that were kind of halted by the COVID virus, and they begin feeling better.
That's amazing. So would you be able to help someone like going through menopause? Is that something?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's very helpful for hot flashes, night sweats, that foggy brain feeling. And, people also think I'm a licensed acupuncturist. That is what they have chosen for the title in the state of Kansas. Now, in the state of New Mexico, I was licensed in the state of New Mexico and was considered a doctor of Oriental medicine. Well, the thing is, I didn't lose anything in that transition. But it sounds like all I do when I'm here is acupuncture. But no, I also have herbals, different herbal formulas that are really helpful. And there are exercises Qigong exercises, Tai Chi exercises that can help balance your system as well. But yes, I help a lot of women with menopausal symptoms and insomnia. The different things that happen as we transition in life will sometimes set all kinds of things kilter. And it's amazing what your body can do when things are kind of put back in balance.
Right. So, I know you couldn't do acupuncture via Zoom or something like that, but do you see patients virtually?
I do. And surprisingly, this is okay. This is going off the deep end a little bit. It's going to sound just a little bit crazy, but hang in there with me.
Okay.
You don't have to do this. During COVID, I did have a couple patients that I worked with over Zoom and worked with their acupuncture meridians and points by helping them guide energy with their mind. And I would do this by by talking to them, by descriptions, by helping them imagine certain energy blocks releasing and opening and flow coming through that area, and was actually surprisingly successful. I did it because I had heard that it could work, and I talked to the person and they were like, go for it. I want to do it. Let's do it, and we did it and it worked. Now, I don't know if they hadn't been open to it, maybe their mind could not have wrapped around that and they couldn't have done it. But working together, the power of the mind is amazing, and your thoughts do direct energy. And I mean, anybody who's ever started a big project knows that if you don't spend some time thinking about it as you're doing, nothing's going to happen. But as you start planning and those ideas start really popping in your head and you get excited, things start happening on the outside. Well, that's the energy being directed toward it. So, okay, aside from that, yes, I do some telehealth visits for, especially for follow-up and for herbal consults. But no, I generally don't do acupuncture over the telehealth.
No. Yeah, probably not the best thing for this.
but it was one of those things that I was surprised to experience, and that I kind of also always treasure, because I realized with that how true it was that our body listens to our mind, and how important it is to keep your thoughts where you want your body to go. Do not dwell on being ill. Dwell on the fact that you are healing. What is the phrase? It's Grandma always said, don't tell people you're sick, tell people you're healing. I
like that.
That's not a joke. There is something to.
Yeah. And it's, I believe so much in manifesting and visualizing and, all of that. So that definitely resonates with me. Okay. So like just take us through acupuncture, what those little needles do, what you're trying to, I know, okay, let's just say there's low back pain, because that'll just be an easy one, I'm assuming. So what are you trying to do with the needles? Are you hitting nerves? What are you trying to do?
No, I am not hitting nerves. If I were to hit a nerve, it would hurt. It would hurt.
Yes.
You would know it.
It didn't really sound good, did it?
Moving that needle fast. However, that does not mean that you don't ever feel kind of a zing sort of response, not a pain. I'm not looking for the pain, but sometimes when a needle is placed, you will feel that feeling of a zing or a rush. That's not a painful thing, but that is when your body changes the chemistry around the base of that needle that's been placed, changes the chemistry enough that it affects the nearby nerves, that they sense a change and they send a signal. So sometimes people will feel that. Generally, they don't feel much of anything. Usually I place the needle and I say, how are you doing? They say, fine. Why do you ask? I say, I just placed your first needle. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Well, that didn't hurt. I thought it would hurt, and often once the needles are all placed and they get to lie there on the table and they're relaxed, I turn the lights down. I often put a heat lamp kind of, on your feet or legs, turn on some music and ask people, how they're doing before I step out of the room for a few minutes. And often they'll say, wow, it's kind of interesting. I'm feeling, and then there'll be different sensations that they describe. Some people describe, I almost feel like my limbs are really heavy. Or I kind of feel like, wow, I feel like there's a little movement, almost like there's a little breeze in my body or something. And those are different sensations, that flow of chi, flow of energy. Some people like to think of it as a flow of bioelectric energy, if that helps your mind wrap around it. I'm all for people being able to grasp something that helps them to think about what's going on in their system. So, it may be one of those terms, it may be something else, but they'll often feel some sort of sensation. And I give everybody a bell. So if they want to call me, they can ring that bell. And then I leave the room and let them relax for 15 to 20 minutes, uh,
Okay.
come back in and take remove the needles and answer any questions they might have. Um, and then they're on their way.
Yeah. So you said needles, plural.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's different for every case, but are you talking 5? Are you talking 50? Like,
No, it's generally somewhere between 7 and maybe 20. Um,
okay.
but I have done as few as 3, and that was for someone who really only wanted a very few, was very, feeling a little nervous about it, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. 3 needles can still really help. It's not about quantity. It's
Mm-hmm.
about placement. It's about your needs. And on someone who has a lot of needles, that doesn't mean they have a better response than someone who has a few. It has more
Mm-hmm.
to do with uh, what we're treating and where we place the needles.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Interesting. Huh. So I know like chiropractic care, it's they say that every now and then you can go in and get one treatment and you're taken care of, but typically it's a series of treatments. Would you say that's the same for your practice?
yes. Again, every once in a while it'll be one. And if it's one, it's generally something that just happened. Someone just twisted their ankle and
Mhm.
it's really hurting and they want to, help bring the pain down. Um,
Mhm.
but if it's the more chronic, the more long term it is, the more likely you're going to need more treatments. Um,
Okay.
and part of that is I call it your body is now in the habit of that being the normal. your your
Yeah.
your body has adjusted to dealing with it being like that, and it's not taking action against it any longer. And so when we place the needles to help it make changes, it may make those changes, but it may only be a short while, and it'll switch right back to the path of least resistance, where it's
Yeah.
always gone, what it's always done. And obviously, what it was doing before wasn't working towards healing, or you wouldn't have a chronic condition. So usually, when it's something that um, something along those lines, I'll have people come in a couple times a week for at least a couple weeks so that we get um, a level of change. And I think about it like almost on like on a ruler or a line, like a graph, where you get a rise in improvement, and then your body starts going back down again. It's trying to go back to where it was, and you need to get another treatment before it gets clear back to where it started. And if you
Mhm.
can get another treatment, it's like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and then 2 steps forward again and 1 step back, until you make enough progress that your body is now seeing this as a new normal. That
Mhm.
now we maintenance this area. Now we send more energy to this area that's healing, whether it be, the a system function, or whether it be, I've treated some diabetics for wounds that wouldn't heal, and get their body to start acknowledging that wound and healing it again, sending
Mhm.
more of all the resources it takes to close that wound up.
Yeah.
Um, so in those cases, we start out a little more frequently to make sure that we don't lose all our gains before the
Mhm.
second or the third treatment or fourth. And as they get to where they're holding the treatment, we can start spacing it out more, and they will still continue to make progress.
Mhm. So it almost sounds like with a massage or a facial, like if you got on a regular routine, then I mean, you probably wouldn't have a lot of these issues because you would continue like your maintenance program.
Yes, yes. And especially the younger you are, the more just a maintenance program can help you. I've got people I treat that are in their 80s and 90s, and it's wonderful because they can get some results, but it's also kind of a shame, darn it, because once a month isn't going to do it for them. because
Oh, okay.
because and not everybody is this way, but sometimes when they get to that point, they've got enough problems that you're helping them with maintenance and management rather than actually curing it. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you've still got a lot a lot more healing potential there. And being able to tap into that and keep it active will really help in the long term to keep you from getting into a position where things have gotten past being past healing.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the workshop that you came to the studio to do, that was more on like herbal teas and things. And you said that you do that with your clients now as well. So do you do workshops? Do you just do one-on-one?
I am starting to do workshops again. I just finished a Qigong class. It was an intensive, so it was 6 classes in 2 weeks. We did Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Um, and I I think that there are so many different things that we could do. We could
Yeah.
do a tea workshop, and we could do different things about the cycles of the seasons, the changes throughout the year that your body goes through on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
We have a biocycle that is just like nature, and we make changes with each season. We make changes with every moon cycle. With we adjust to our environment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a lot of things that we could do about that and with that sorry, that we don't right now, um, that our culture really doesn't acknowledge, and that we could really help ourselves with. So I think that would be a good one to do. For
Mm-hmm.
for instance, we are in the yin. We are entering the most yin period of the year. I'm sure you've heard of yin and yang, or yin and
Mm-hmm.
yang, I think is how it's mostly pronounced here. But
Yeah.
I, I was taught it was yin and yang. So, but and this is the most introspective period of the year, which is kind of funny because it's been our holidays, which were once holy days,
Mm-hmm.
are very much celebratory, which is great. We need that in this darker, seemingly at times bleaker time. But we also need to use this time for introspection
Yeah.
and for preparing for the new birth and new growth that's going to happen in springtime.
Nice.
So, being able to understand how we flow with the year and how we flow with the seasons, so that we can take um, full advantage of
Mm-hmm.
the strengths of that season, and
Sure.
and kind of avoid the pitfalls. Um, this is not the time to most overwork your body, mind, or spirit. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that you'll do much better with that in the spring or the summer or even the fall, because those are times of growth and flourish and harvest. And this is more of a time of planning, of introspection, of thinking, of connection with your source, figuring out what is best for you, how
Mm-hmm.
best to flourish in the new year when that comes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like people this time of year sometimes give themselves a hard time because they feel like they're not as physically active, and which makes sense with colder weather. If you're in a climate where that you have that here, we're both in the Kansas City area, so yes, we have that. But they give themselves a hard time when really it sounds like from what you're saying is that's naturally supposed to happen.
Yes, you can look at nature, and all of nature is taking a little break.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is a time of hibernation. It's a time of dropping the leaves on the trees and the plants, and everything gets to take a sigh and
Mhm.
rest a little bit more. And I'm not saying don't exercise by any means. Still
Right.
exercise,
Right.
But you
Yes.
may want to shift your exercise a little bit, and you may want to uh, not go into the things that cause you to sweat heavily as much, because especially if you're traveling somewhere, you're going to have to go out in the cold with all your pores open, and you're kind of damp and chilly, and you can actually end up doing yourself a disservice. You could end up making yourself more vulnerable to illness. So there are this is the time for the yin restorative yoga. This is the time for the stretching and the light weightlifting. But there are other times of the year that really all the power stuff comes into play. You're into the full yang part of the year. But
Okay.
definitely
So
take
interesting.
advantage, because right now is when you can really connect with your inner spirit better than any other time of the year. And
Okay.
in our culture, we don't even think about that. We don't think about, oh, there's a better time for this. Oh, well, why am I not taking advantage of the meditative powers of this season?
Ah, I love that. Okay, I'm going to make some changes and some shifts then and see what I can do. So, did you say that you teach Tai Chi also? I think you do.
Yes, I hadn't taught it in a while. I lost my mother a year and a half
I'm
ago.
sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you. It was a very it was very trying. And at that time I kind of quit teaching things for a little while. Again, introspection came on
yeah,
me pretty heavily with that. I uh,
sure.
had a lot to go through, and but yes, I'm starting classes up again, and I love Tai Chi. It's so fun. I'm not a dancer. I never was very coordinated with, put me in a Zoom class or something, I'd probably just have to melt away into the wall, because I'd be so embarrassed not being able to. I'd be the one who's doing exactly the opposite of what everybody's doing. But I studied Tai Chi extra hours and extra hard, and spent tutoring time with the Tai Chi teacher, because I loved it so much. I wanted to be good at it. And
Mhm.
by the time school was over, because we learned this in Chinese medicine school, I actually knew it better than anybody in the class, because I had been so bad at it that I had to study so much more. And so it's kind of funny that now I teach it, and again, there are a lot of benefits from that, from doing it, and then I've gained a lot of benefits from teaching it.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, what else would you want people to know about all your services?
Well, I want people to know that they have nothing to be scared of with acupuncture. It's not a scary thing. The needles are very, very fine. They do not inject anything. They don't take anything out. And when I say fine, people have never seen acupuncture needles for the most part. When they come in, often they're expecting what is used for a blood draw or a vaccination. And no, these are not like that. These are, I think they really are even kind of misnamed. Probably should be called pins rather than needles, because like I said, they're not hollow. They don't inject anything. They don't take anything out. And
Hmm.
they are about little bit thicker than a hair. Um,
Hmm.
so it's not a painful procedure. The other thing is that there are a lot more options than just acupuncture, just the needles. If they don't want that, they can still come in. We can talk about things that they can do for themselves. I can do
Hmm.
acupressure. I can teach them acupressure points they can do for themselves. I also do cupping, which is a vacuum, a cup that a vacuum is applied to. And I think of it as a reverse massage.
Hmm.
Massage puts pressure on the tissues. Cupping uh, decreases the pressure on the tissues. It allows more blood flow and fluid flow to an area. It can often
Hmm.
break up adhesions. It can help with scar tissue. And there are so many times when people get relief from that they have not gotten from anything else. I also do a therapy called Gua Sha, which is a friction therapy, where I am taking a special tool and I'm kind of scraping across the surface of the skin. It's not painful, but it will often really reveal areas that it'll look like it's really bruised or something when I'm done. And they're like, well, that's so strange because it didn't hurt at all. And it's because they had blocked capillaries under the skin. And as we put the friction or pressure across it, the capillaries were able to clear what was blocking them. And now they have good, healthy blood flow to that area, and it no longer hurts. People tend to think, we all tend to think, I mean, I did until I learned differently, that our vessels, our blood vessels, are like rubber tubes and stuff just flows through them and it just flows around and around and around. But no, they're not at all. They actually allow resources to pass through the walls both ways. They pick up waste material and they leave resources. And if they get gunk along the sides of the walls, then you don't get the resources that you need and you don't get the waste material removed. And so some of those, like cupping and the Gua Sha, both help with cleaning an area. And it's amazing how much relief you can have. If that was the problem, then that's going to really help you. So there are those things. I also have red light therapy and blue light therapy, which can really help with pain relief and is needle free, totally needle free. I've used that on some children as well who, didn't want to do the needles. And also it's used for anti-wrinkles for your face. And it's wonderful.
Okay, it's so funny that you say that. I was going to tell you that your skin looks amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, acupuncture can help you because it can help the underlying muscle tissue stay firm. So you get a facelift without having any, surgeries. And then also the Celluma, the red light therapy, helps with the fine lines, the very fine wrinkles. So you put those two together, and we sell facial packages, and it's pretty amazing. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
So we got that too. So we got lots of options.
Oh, that's great. Oh, so
and that's
given that, go ahead.
That's not even saying much about the herbs. So there's herbs too. Oh. Teas and pills, both.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, this is spandex and wine. She knows I drink wine. I could probably get some type of detox for my liver from going to see her.
Yes. And we all would love our face to look fresher and younger. I mean, I know I do. There's just always a little room for that. And there's lots of good things.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, how can everyone find you?
BlueValleyACU.com is my website. So it's
okay.
Blue Valley and then ACU for acupuncture, but you don't have to spell acupuncture, just ACU.com. And that'll give you all our contact information. And I also do classes and events. I don't have any up there right now because I'm kind of like, should I do them before the holidays? Maybe not. Maybe it's not the best timing. I don't know. But that you could get hold of us that way. And we also have scheduling on the website, online scheduling.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely put that in the show notes too. Yeah. So people can just check the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, this has been so informative. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here with me.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun, Robin. I've got to get over and see you too.
No, it's been too long. It's been way too long. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again very soon.
Well, thank you. And you have happy holidays.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
That was fascinating. Thank you, Sandy, for sharing your knowledge and your time. So a few takeaways. 1, acupuncture can be used in addition to or as an alternative to Western medicine for healing. 2, the process of acupuncture is for balancing your whole energy system, otherwise known as your qi. This balancing allows the body to heal correctly. 3, the power of the mind is amazing. Your thoughts direct your energy. 4, our biocycle is like nature. There are many changes with each season and even moon cycles, and likewise within ourselves. Being open to making changes and flowing with these cycles can be very beneficial to our health. 5, Acupuncture might sound scary, but it is not. The needles are hollow with no way for injection or withdrawal and only a little thicker than a hair. There are many other options as well, such as acupressure, cupping, herbals, friction therapy, and red and blue light therapy. Tell someone you love this holiday season by giving them the gift of balance and healing with acupuncture. The perfect gift for you as well. Sandy has gift certificates available, and her information is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you take a few seconds to do each or all of the following. First, follow or subscribe to Spandex and Wine. It'll help you so you don't miss an episode, and it'll help me because you won't miss any episodes. To do this, you'll just go to the podcast, click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button, and this is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast, so thank you. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing. And lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going. I appreciate you. Thanks.